minus 37.8 degrees Celsius. That is extremely cold. Or to be more precise, it was the coldest temperature ever measured in Germany. What was a cold record in this country is even a pleasant day for the inhabitants of the municipality of Oymyakon in the east of Russia. In the coldest place in the world, temperatures of up to minus 67.8 degrees Celsius have been measured officially. Unofficially, even minus 71.2 degrees Celsius were measured. Nowhere else on Earth do people live under such unimaginable sub-zero temperatures. In this video, you will find out what everyday life is like for the inhabitants of Oymyakon and what tricks they use to defy the extreme temperatures. So, let's get started right away, here at Wonderlane. Before we take a look into the everyday life of the residents, let's start with some facts about Oymyakon and its history. Oymyakon is a village founded in 1931 in the northeastern part of Asian Russia. The village was founded because the Russian government needed a military airport in the area for stopovers. The construction workers and employees of the airport settled around the airfield, and so Oymyaka was born. Oymyaka is literally in the middle of nowhere. It is so remote that you actually have to take a 2-day drive from the capital of the Republic of Yakutia to even get to the village. With average winter temperatures ranging from minus 51 to minus 41 degrees Celsius, the place is actually barely habitable either. But people have adapted to many circumstances over the past 90 years. How the 462 inhabitants of Oymyakon spend their everyday life there, we will show you now. Already in the early morning, it is extremely cold in Oymyakon at the winter time, which makes many morning activities much more difficult. It is so cold that saliva freezes on the lips and pricks the skin like little needles. Eyelashes also freeze immediately. Spectacle wearers have to be especially careful because the low temperatures can cause glasses to freeze to their faces. After just a few minutes of being outside, you can easily get frostbite on your body. To be able to withstand these temperatures, the first order of the day for the inhabitants is to dress properly. For this, they usually wear several layers of clothing, with underwear, thick sweaters, and heavy fur coats around the body. They cover their face with a cap, scarf, and a thick cloth in front of the mouth, as well as a large fur hood. But instead of being able to use the toilet indoors in the morning, most people actually have to leave their homes before breakfast. Because it is not possible to lay sewage pipes in the constantly frozen ground, they have to go to an outhouse in the garden. Otherwise, the inhabitants leave their houses only when it is absolutely necessary. They then walk to the place where they have to go, holding their gloves in front of their mouths. Of course, the inhabitants of Oymyakon prefer to go by car rather than to walk, but even here they have to be careful. The engines of the cars have to run permanently outside, because otherwise they would freeze. At home, the cars are therefore parked in heated garages. Even boiling water still freezes in the air when you pour it out at these temperatures. After a nutritious breakfast consisting of black tea, fried pastries or fish, eggs, and warm porridge made of bread, the residents go about their daily activities. The water for the tea must be obtained by melting ice blocks from the river because there is no running water. After their breakfast, the children in the village have to go to school. Every morning, their mothers first check the thermometer. At minus 54 degrees, the children have a cold-free day. When it is warmer, a bus picks up the around 50 children from the village and drives them to school. The only bus driver, Gregory, has specially prepared his bus and has to check it every day so that it runs reliably. But because the children have to walk to the bus and wait for it, their mothers wrap them up warmly. They wear 4 layers of clothing, 2 jackets on top, plus a scarf, 2 pairs of gloves, and a fur hat, and still they get cold outside within minutes. At about 8:30 in the morning, the school starts. Before class begins, the children romp around the school building to warm up. After the lessons, which are not very different from the lessons as we know them, the children go home at about 2 p.m., and they immediately rush into the warm bus. While the children are at school during the day, the adults have hard work ahead of them. Most of the inhabitants are nowadays mainly employed at the coal-fired water heating plant, work as lumberjacks, hunters, or raise livestock. Since there are fewer and fewer traditional employers, and the military airport has been closed, many people in Oymyka are, unlike us, classic self-producers, and have no supermarkets or anything similar. Even if some inhabitants still have classic jobs, for example as teachers or doctors, and can work inside the warm, most inhabitants of Oymyakon have to go out into the cold to do their work. Woodworkers and hunters, for example, have to spend the whole day in the cold and have to fight with problems again and again. Several times a day, their tools freeze and have to be warmed up in a tent. The biggest problem for the workers outside is that the day is extremely short in winter. It is only really bright for about 3 hours, and the sun is not in the sky for the remaining 21 hours of the day. This long night, also called polar night, ensures that the inhabitants generally hardly leave their homes in the winter. Many stay at home all day and watch a lot of TV or listen to the radio. This is in the remote village the only way to see what is happening in the rest of the world. In the evening, the families eat together again. Vegetables, by the way, are rarely on the table because nothing can be grown due to the permafrost soil. The inhabitants prefer to eat cold food, like frozen raw fish, which is shredded, or frozen raw horse liver. But because this is a luxury for them, soup with meat is often eaten on a daily basis. Meat is a must, as it is the only source of energy and good for our health, says villager Bolot Bochkarev. After eating, the inhabitants usually watch some television before going to sleep to resume their strenuous fight against the cold the next morning. The fact that the extreme temperatures and the long darkness, combined with hard work and a lot of vodka, cannot be good for their health is also proven by the life expectancy in the village. In the coldest village in the world, life expectancy is only around 55 years. When a person dies, a fire must first be built to thaw the frozen ground. After that, a little digging can be done, and for further thawing, a fire is needed again, so it takes several days to dig a hole deep enough for a burial in Oymyakon. By the way, in the course of the last decades, Oymyakon has shrunk more and more, and from formerly 2,500 inhabitants, there are now only 462 left. That was a day in the coldest city in the world. Write us in the comments if you could imagine living in Oymyakon. If you enjoyed this video, we would be happy about a like and a subscription. See you next time, here at Wonderland.